Hey everyone, I couldn't figure out how to go Facebook Live inside of the group. I think I can only go Facebook Live in my personal page, and I just wanted to share this a little more confidential share with you only members inside this group, because I know it's a sacred space. And I wanted to share about some money shame that came up with me this morning, and a big, mess up that I did with a financial decision I made, and that it happens to everyone. And even, I'm a money behavior coach, and there's still things that I'm learning about how I relate to money and make my financial decisions. And as I've mentioned before, I have a chronic pattern, or I have had a chronic pattern of overspending, and the impulses still come up sometimes. And I realized an impulse that I indulged several months ago to invest in myself when it wasn't really a financially wise decision. It wasn't really good financial stewardship. And what that means is, the first thing to look at when you make a financial decision is just check in if the decision, whatever you want to invest in, is in alignment with your heart and your mind. Like, is it something that you truly desire in your heart, or are you just trying to fulfill a need or something inside you that really should be filled in another way? But if, the investment for me was a personal development investment, so usually those are pretty healthy choices to make. So they're harder to catch when we do make poor financial decisions there, because they're so easy to qualify. But what I realized is that I made that financial decision, even if it was coming from like that healthy place of wanting to grow, I did it without really looking at my numbers to know if it was a financially wise thing to do as a financial steward of my money. And I realized that I was doing it out of a bit of desperation. So there was a desperate sense, like, I must invest in this right now. I can't deliberate. If I don't do it, I might lose the opportunity, and then I'll just fail and I won't get what I want. And, delaying gratification can feel really painful sometimes, especially when it's something that's more like heartfelt, like our personal development and our growth as a human being, and how I wanted that to manifest in my professional life and reach more people with my work. But I realized recently that I really made that decision out of desperation, and not really trusting that if I paused and looked at the financial facts and chose to delay that investment for when it was more financially responsible and being a really wise steward of my money, that would have been coming from a place of financial wholeness when I made that decision. But I didn't come from a place of financial wholeness. And this is what I teach women to do. And I still catch myself, I just made this realization this morning. So I had to apologize to this person I made the investment with, because there's a continued expectation beyond that investment, which I'm not going to follow through on, which means I'm breaking my agreement with her. And that sucks. Like, that's totally on me, and I take responsibility for having made a decision months ago that was out of a place of lack and fear and desperation, and not out of a place of wholeness and groundedness, and not out of a place of wise financial stewardship. And by the way, I've already examined all the bold and creative ways I could have funded that investment. So this isn't to say, like, if you don't have the cash in your bank account right now, don't do the investment. That's not at all the case. In fact, there's so many ways that you can get access to cash and financial resources to support your investment, like, pretty fast. But for the financial facts in my situation, which are my private financial facts, but they are such that I didn't have access to some of those bold creative options, like, literally as a fact. So because I didn't have access to that, I really made that decision brashly, and it was not a wise financial stewardship choice. So that being said, I had to apologize to this person, ask to be released from the contract that I signed, and really forgive myself, because there's so much shame. Like, why didn't I figure this out? I'm a money behavior coach, and I went and made a decision that was a poor financial decision as a financial steward, and I just realized that, we just uncover new levels, new layers of where we get stuck, and where our impulses which run really deep and within ourselves, where they pop up. And even sometimes when we think we have it handled, they'll still pop up, right? So I don't say that to scare you, but just to share with you vulnerably that it's still something I work on, but I can't even tell you the kind of peace and groundedness that I have now in my financial sovereignty. That's what I'd like to call it. So helping women with financial sovereignty, which is all the things combined, meaning like having financial wisdom, knowing your numbers, making decisions based on financial stewardship, making decisions based on alignment, making decisions based on putting your desires on a timeline and when it's prudent to do so. Is it supporting your wealth building? Is it bold and creative? Like considering all the things, that's what real financial sovereignty is. And that's the place that I'm speaking to you from today. But I didn't come from financial sovereignty when I made that decision a couple months ago, and I wanted to share that and be transparent. But you can clean it up. I cleaned it up by apologizing, accepting responsibility, and the deposit I made for that program was a significant amount, and it's non-refundable, and I don't expect it to be any different, because I made that choice, and I made that error of not coming from financial wholeness, not coming from financial sovereignty. But it's quite a journey. So I encourage you that if you notice that you have impulsive tendencies when you spend your money, or that you can't build your savings as hard as you try, that there are definitely, certainly sabotage patterns that are running the show, and they're more powerful than you at this moment, but they are not more powerful than you as a fact. Like, you are more powerful. You just have to be able to believe in yourself first and have that self-worth, which takes some healing work to do a lot of the time. And in my journey, my self-worth didn't show up as an issue right away. It showed up further down the line, like later stages of where self-worth issues can pop up. So it was harder to detect, actually. And that might be the case for some of you. And for some of you, you just might notice right away that you have a hard time investing in yourself ever. And there's self-worth issues coming up right from the get-go. So I just feel really passionate about this, that you are capable of being a wise financial steward. You are capable of having all your dreams come true too. And it just takes having that financial sovereignty and wholeness to be able to put your desires on a timeline and do it responsibly and create a life that you really love and deserve. So wanted to share that with you today.